Okay, so we will start from the review exercise. Question number 1. Complete the table given below using the fact that 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliters. The row where we have 2500 milliliters, it is completed for us. So we will go to the next one. There we have what? 3 liters and no milliliters, or we can say 0 milliliters. We have to fill this space. That means the milliliter part. So 3 liters, how do we convert that into milliliters? Simply multiplying it by 1000. So this becomes what? 3000, right? So here we have 3000 milliliters. Then on the last column, liters in decimal form, what do we have to do? 3000, we have to divide it by 1000, no? So this becomes what? 3 liters. So these are the spaces that we need to fill. Next one. So there we have 3500 milliliters. So on the next column, the liter part is completed. Milliliter part is empty. So it should be what? 500 milliliters, no? So the last column, 3500, we have to divide it by 1000. So this should be what? 3.5 liters. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Next one. So there we have 4 liters and 500 milliliters. This part is also filled 4.5 liters. Right? 4 liters and 500 milliliters means what? 4 liters means 4000 milliliters. So to that we have to add 500 milliliters to get the total value. So this will be what? This will be equal to 4500 milliliters. So this is the space that we need to fill. So in the next row we have been given what? 0 liters and 500 milliliters. That means we have only 500 milliliters. So this space should be 500 milliliters, and the last space should be what? 500 we have to divide by 1000. So this should be what? 0.5 liters. Okay, so these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Right. So in the next row we have been given 200 milliliters. That means this should be what? 0 liters and 200 milliliters. And this should be what? 200 we have to divide it by 1000. So this should be 0.2 liters. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Okay, so the next one we have what? 50 milliliters. That means no liters and 50 milliliters here. So on the last space, 50 we have to divide by 1000. So what will it be? 0.05 liters. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Okay, so on the next row, the liter amount is given to us in what? Decimal form. So 3.25 liters means what? If we convert that into, that means this entire amount into milliliters, what will it be? 3.25, we have to multiply that by 1000. So it will be what? 3250 milliliters. That means what? 3 liters and 250 milliliters. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Right. So next we have 25 milliliters. So 25 we have to divide by 1000 to get the value for the last row. So that means what? 0.025 liters. So this means what? The entire amount is 25 milliliters. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Right. So the next one, on the very last row we have 0.005 liters. So that means what? 0.005 liters. We multiply that by 1000 to convert that amount into milliliters. So it will be what? 5. So this should be 5 milliliters, and this should be 0 liters and 5 milliliters. So these are the spaces that we need to fill. Right. Question number 2. complete the two tables given below based on the way the volumes of the cube and the cuboid in the figure have been calculated, right? So take few minutes to observe the question, right? So we will start from the first table. That means the table related to cube, right? Okay. The first side length is what? 2 centimeters. So how do we calculate the volume? 2 into 2 into 2, which will be what? 8. These are cubic centimeters. Next one, side length is 4 centimeters. So 4 into 4 into 4. So it will be 64 cubic centimeters. Right, so the next side length is 6 centimeters. So 6 into 6 into 6. So this will be 216 cubic centimeters. Next side length is 7. So 7 into 7 into 7. So 7 centimeters. So this should be what? 343 cubic centimeters. Next side length is 8 centimeters. So 8 into 8 into 8. So we have 512 cubic centimeters. Next side length is 10. So 10 into 10 into 10. So volume is 1000 cubic centimeters. So next side length is 12. So volume is 12 into 12 into 12. So value is what? 1728 cubic centimeters. Right. So now we will go to the table in relation to the cuboid. Right. So in the first row we have been given length 3 centimeters, width 2 centimeters, height 2 centimeters. So how do we calculate the volume? Simply multiply them. So 3 into 2, that is 6. 6 into 2, that is 12 cubic centimeters. Okay, so the next row. Length is 5, width is 3, height is 4. So how do we calculate the volume? Multiply these numbers. So 5 into 3, that is 15. 15 into 4, that is 60 cubic centimeters. Next row, we have been given length 8 centimeters, width 6 centimeters, height 5 centimeters. So how do we calculate the volume? Multiply these numbers. So 8 into 6, that is 48. 48 into 5, what is that? 40 into 5, that is 200. 8 into 5, that is 40. So when we add these values together, we get what? 240. So we get 240 cubic centimeters. Okay, so the next row, we have length 10 centimeters, width 5 centimeters, height 10 centimeters. So we have to multiply these numbers to get the volume. So 10 into 5, that is 50. 50 into 10, that is 500 cubic centimeters. Right. So next row we have length 12 centimeters, width 10 centimeters, height 8 centimeters. So we have to multiply these values to get the volume. 12 into 10, that is 120. 120 into 8, what is that? 960 cubic centimeters. So next we have 12 centimeters as length, 6 centimeters as width, 5 centimeters as height. So we have to multiply these values to get the volume. So 12 into 6, that is 72. 72 into 5. So 70 into 5, that is 350. 2 into 5, that is 10. So when we add these values, we get what? 360. So this will be 360 cubic centimeters. Okay, so next we have length 15 centimeters, width 8 centimeters, height 10 centimeters. So we have to multiply these values to get the volume. So 8 into 10, that is 80. 15 into 80. 15 into 8, that is 120. So we need to multiply 120 by 10. So this will be what? 1200 cubic centimeters. Right. So next length is 20 centimeters, width is 7 centimeters, height is 8 centimeters. So we have to multiply these values to get the volume. So 7 into 8, that is 56. 56 we need to multiply that by 20. 56 into 2, what is that? 1120. 1120 cubic centimeters. Question number 3. The internal length, width and height of a container in the figure are 30 centimeters, 10 centimeters and 12 centimeters respectively. This container has been filled with water up to a height of 7 centimeters. Right? So kindly note that the height of the container is 12 centimeters, and at the moment, what is the height of the water level? 7 centimeters. Part 1. Determine the following. Part 1. The capacity of the container. Okay, so these are the dimensions of the container, right? Capacity, right? So what do? We have to multiply these values, right? So 30 into 10 into 12. What is that? 3600. So 3600 cubic centimeters, that is the capacity. Okay, so how do we know that this is the capacity? Think about the height. At the moment, the water is filled up to what? 7 centimeters, but we have considered the entire height. So then we get what? Capacity. Question number 3, part 2. The volume of water required to fill the whole container. I have drawn a side view of this container. So as you can see, the actual height of the container is 12 centimeters. At the moment, water is filled up to what? 7 centimeters. Actually, there are several ways where we can come up with the answer. We know the capacity of the container. We calculated that in the previous part. In the question, what are they asking? They are asking what is the amount of water required to fill. At the moment, the water is filled to 7 centimeters. From that, we can calculate at the moment what is the volume of the water. That means what is the volume of the water considering the height as 7 centimeters. So we will do that. So length is 30 centimeters, width is 10 centimeters, height is 7 centimeters. Okay, so what do we get? 2100 cubic centimeters. Now that means at the moment, that is the volume of the water that is filled, right? So what is the capacity? Capacity is 3600. So what will be the difference? That will be what? That will be the water amount required to fill. So 3600, from that we need to subtract 2100. So what will it be? 2 zeros, 6 minus 1, it is a 5, 3 minus 2, that's a 1. So this will be 1500 cubic centimeters. So we will consider another method. So this method which I am about to explain is much quicker. We know the entire height of the container is 12 centimeters. At the moment, the water is filled up to 7 centimeters. So what is this height? 5 centimeters, right? So we can calculate the volume of the water considering the height as 5 centimeters. So what will it be? Length is 30 centimeters, width is 10 centimeters, height is what? 5 centimeters. 30 into 10, that is 300. 300 into 5, what is that? 1500. We get the same answer but in a quicker way. Part 3. The volume of water in the container if the container is filled with water only up to a height of 7 centimeters. So we are talking about the same container So length is 30 centimeters, width is 10 centimeters, and the height is what? 7 centimeters. So this will be what? 2100 cubic centimeters. Part 4. When the water level is 7 centimeters, if due to a leak, it decreases to 5 centimeters within an hour. The volume of water that has leaked out during that hour. Consider at the beginning the water level is 7 centimeters. After the leakage, what's the water level? The remaining water level, the height 5 centimeters. So before 7, after 5. So what's the difference? 7 minus 5, we get 2. So it will be the height. So we can consider that as the height, then calculate the volume of the water which has leaked out, right? So what will it be? So we are talking about the same container. So length and the width, it will be the same. Height is what? 2 centimeters. 30 into 10, that is 300. 300 into 2, that is what? 600 cubic centimeters. That's the answer. Exercise 9.1. Question number 1. Join each of the volumes in box A with the volume in box B which is equal to it. Right. I will just write down the correct answer. So first one, what do we have? 1000 cubic centimeters. Right. So we know 1000 cubic centimeters is equal to what? 1 liter. Why is that? We know 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. That means if we consider 1000 milliliters, it should be equal to what? 1000 cubic centimeters. Right? According to this relationship. 1000 milliliters means what? So we can say 1 liter is equal to what? 1000 cubic centimeters. 1000 cubic centimeters, right? You should join 1 liter. Right. So then we have 10 cubic centimeters. We must join 10 milliliters. So why is that? We know 1 milliliter, that is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. So by that sense, 10 cubic centimeters must be equal to what? 10 milliliters. So 10 cubic centimeters, you must join 10 milliliters. Right. So then we have 3000 cubic centimeters. So you should join 3 liters with it. So next we have 25,000 cubic centimeters. So we need to join 25 liters with it. Then we have 25 cubic centimeters. So we need to join 25 milliliters with it. Question number 2. What do we have? The dimensions of several cuboid shaped containers are given in the following table. Complete this table. Right. So the first row, what do we have? Length 20 centimeters, width 10 centimeters, height 5 centimeters. So how do we get the volume? Simply multiply these numbers. So 20 into 10 we get 200. 200 into 5 we get what? 1000. So these are cubic centimeters. Right? So on the milliliter column, this should be what? 1000 milliliters. And on the liter column, this should be what? 1 liter. So next row we have length 40 centimeters, width 20 centimeters, height 10 centimeters. So we will multiply these values to get the volume. So 40 into 20 we get what? 800. 800 into 10 we get 8000. So volume in cubic centimeters is 8000 cubic centimeters. So 1 cubic centimeter is equal to 1 milliliter. That means this is equal to what? 8000 milliliters. So the value in liters will be what? 8 liters. Right. Next, length is 35 centimeters, width is 12 centimeters, height is 10 centimeters. So multiply these values to get the volume. So 35 into 12. What is that? 420 into 10, we get 4200 cubic centimeters. So that means 4200 milliliters. So the liter value, 4200 milliliters, we will divide it by 1000. So we get what? 4.2 liters. So this should be 4.2 liters. Right, so the next one, what do we have? Length 50 centimeters, width 35 centimeters, height 12 centimeters. So to get the volume, we have to multiply these values. So 50 into 35, that means what? 5 into 10 into 35, 1750. So 50 into 35, we get 1750. That value we have to multiply by 12. 1750, we need to multiply that by 12. Right. That means when we multiply 175 into 12, we get 2100. Multiply that by 10, we get what? 21,000. So here the outcome is 21,000 cubic centimeters. So that means 21,000 milliliters. So 21,000 milliliters, we have to divide it by 1000 in order to get the value in liters. So this will be what? 21 liters. Okay, so next we have been given length 40 centimeters, width 35 centimeters, height 25 centimeters. To get the volume, we have to multiply these values. 140 into 10, we get what? 1400. Now what do we have to do? 1400, we need to multiply that by 25. 14 into 25, what do we get? 350. 350 into 100, what do we get? 35,000. So that means the outcome of this multiplication is what? 35,000 cubic centimeters, and also that means 35,000 milliliters, and also that means 35 liters. Okay, so the next one we have length 25 centimeters, width 20 centimeters, height 18 centimeters. So to get the volume, we will multiply these values by each other. That means here the outcome is 9,000 cubic centimeters. Okay, so that means this should be 9,000 milliliters. So when we convert 9,000 milliliters into liters, it will be 9 liters. Question number 3. A cuboid shaped tank of base area 240 square centimeters is filled up to a height of 12 centimeters with water. Find the volume of water in the tank in part 1 cubic centimeters, part 2 milliliters, part 3 liters. Okay, part 1. So area of the base is what? 240 square centimeters. Height is 12 centimeters. So volume in cubic centimeters is what? 240. We have to multiply that by 12. So 24 into 12, we get what? 288. 288 into 10, we get 2880. When we multiply this, we get what? 2880 cubic centimeters. So the value in milliliters. 1 cubic centimeter is equal to 1 milliliter. So 2880 cubic centimeters is equal to what? 2880 milliliters. So this is the answer. Part 3, we need to find the same value in liters. So 2880, these are milliliters. So in order to convert this value into liters, we have to divide it by 1000. So this becomes what? 2.88 liters. Question number 4. A cuboid shaped container has a square base of area 225 square centimeters. An amount of 3.6 liters of water has been filled into the container. Find the height of the water in the container. Okay, so this is part 1. Right, so think about the volume of the cuboid. How do we get it? So we have been given area of the base. Area of the base we know. If we know the height, right? If we know the height, if we multiply area of the base into height, what do we get? Volume. Area of the base we know. Volume we know. So we can easily find what? The height. Okay. Now, here we have to be careful. Why? The volume is given to us as what? 3.6 liters. Area is given to us in what? 225 square centimeters. That means we have to convert this amount into what? Here it is given to us in liters. We need to convert this into what? Cubic centimeters. Okay, so first of all, we will do that. 3.6 liters, we will convert that into milliliters. That means what? 3.6, we need to multiply that by 1000. So we get what? 3600 milliliters. We know 1 cubic centimeter is equal to what? 1 milliliter. So that means 3600 milliliters is equal to what? 3600 cubic centimeters. Right? So we can write this is equal to what? 3600 cubic centimeters. Now for the volume we can use what? 3600 cubic centimeters. Right. So we will consider simple h as the height. So 225 into h, that is equal to what? 3600. Right. So this is square centimeters. This is cubic centimeters. So h is equal to what? 3600 divided by 225. So 3600 divided by 225, we get what? 16. So h is equal to what? 16. What's the unit? Centimeters. Part 2. If the height of the container is 24 centimeters, show that the water is filled to 2/3 of its capacity. If the height is 16 centimeters, what's the volume? 225 into 16. So I will consider this as number 1. If the height is 24 centimeters, what is the volume? 225 into 24. So I will consider this as number 2. Now 225 here, and here also we have 225. Why is that? We are talking about the same container. Same container in both occasions. Obviously it will have the same area of base. පතුලේ වර්ගඵලය සමානයි. Right? Okay, so what do we have to do? We have to divide 1 by 2. Okay, so I can cancel off these two. So 8 into 2, 8 into 3. So what do we get? 2 by 3. So that means the statement is true. Question number 5. Show that a barrel of capacity 15 liters can be filled completely by pouring water 15 times using a completely filled cube-shaped container of side length 10 centimeters. Right. So first of all, we will consider the volume of 1 cube. Right. So what's the volume of cube? Volume of cube, what is that? 10 into 10 into 10, no? So we get 1000 cubic centimeters. So this is volume of 1 cube. How many times that this cube is used to fill the barrel? 15 times. Here, what's the volume? 1000 cubic centimeters. So we know that it is equal to what? 1 liter. So if we use 15 times of this, what will be the volume? Volume of water? 1 into 15, no? So it will be 15 liters. Right? Take a look at it again. What is the volume of the cube? Volume of the cube is 1000 cubic centimeters. 1000 cubic centimeters is what? 1 liter. So we use this cube 15 times to fill the barrel. So if the volume of 1 cube is equal to 1 liter and we use the same cube 15 times, what will be the volume of the water? 15 liters. So it is equal to what? It is equal to the volume of the barrel. So the statement is true, right? If we consider the volume of the barrel, it is 15 liters. Okay? So if we take this cube which has a volume of 1 liter and use it to fill water 15 times, again we get what? The entire volume as 15 liters. Right. Exercise 9.2. Complete the table. So first row. So all the measurements are given to us in meters. So what will be the volume? 2 into 2 into 1. So 2 into 2, that is 4. 4 into 1, that is 4. So that means what is the volume? 4 cubic meters. Right? We have to convert this amount into what? Liters. So what do we have to do? 4, we have to multiply that by 1000. So we get what? 4000. So this should be what? 4000 liters. Right. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. So here what do we have? Length, width and height all are given to us in what? Meters. So 2 into 1.5, that is 3. 3 into 1, that is again 3. So 3 cubic meters. So that means what? 3000 liters. Right. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Okay. So next we have length, height and width. Right. So here what do we get? 0.5 cubic meters. And what will be the value in liters? 500 liters. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Okay. So in the next row, length and width is given to us. We have to find the height. And also the volume is given to us in cubic meters. We need to convert this into liters. So this will be what? 8000 liters. So what will be the height? 4 into 1 into height. This should be equals to what? 8. So h is what? 8 divided by 4, which will be 2. So the height is 2 meters. Okay, so these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Right, so in the next row, we have been given the volume in liters. So 9000 liters means 9 cubic meters. So we need to find the height. So we have been given width and height. So if we take the length as simple L, L into 1.5 into 3, that is equal to what? 9. So L is equal to what? 9 divided by 1.5 into 3. 3 into 1, 3 into 3. Right? So 3 into 1, 3 into 0.5. So that means what? 1 divided by 0.5. That means 10 divided by 5, which is 2. So here, what is the length? 2 meters. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Okay, so here we know the volume in cubic meters, 1.5. That means in liters it will be what? 1500 liters. Okay, 1.5 we have to multiply that by 1000. Now here we need to find the width. No? Both of these are what? Ones. When we multiply all three terms, that means length, width and height, it should equal to what? 1.5. Two values are each 1. Then the remaining value should be what? 1.5. So these are the two spaces that we need to fill. Question number 2. The length, width and depth of a swimming pool are 50 meters, 25 meters and 3 meters respectively. Okay, so here I have considered the depth as 3 meters. Part 1. Find the capacity of the swimming pool. So what do we have to do? Length into width into height. Right, so 25 into 3, what is that? 75. 75 into 50. 75 into 50. So that means 75 into 50, we can write 5 into 10. So 375 multiplied by that by 10. So we get what? 3750. So this is equal to 3750. So these are cubic meters. Part 2. If the swimming pool is filled with water up to a height of 1.2 meters, what is the volume of water in the swimming pool in liters? So at the moment, the water is filled up to what? 1.2 meters. Right? So we have to find the volume. That means what? 50 into 25 into 1.2. Okay? 50 means what? 5 into 10 into 25 into 1.2. So this should be 1500 cubic meters. How much more water is required to fill the swimming pool completely? The entire depth of the swimming pool is what? 3 meters. At the moment, the water is filled up to 1.2 meters. What is the difference? That means 3 minus 1.2, what do we get? 1.8. That means this is the difference. Or else, if we put water up to another 1.8 meters, the swimming pool will be what? Filled. So what do we have to do? We have to calculate the volume considering the depth as 1.8 of the pool. So 50 into 25 into 1.8. So that means when we multiply these values, what do we get? 2250 cubic meters. That's the answer. Question number 3. What do we have? A Bowser of capacity 6.5 cubic meters is filled completely with oil. The Bowser is supposed to distribute 850 liters of oil each to 8 filling stations. Is the oil in the Bowser sufficient for all 8 filling stations? Give reasons for your answer. Right. What is the capacity of the Bowser? 6.5 cubic meters. This Bowser needs to fill filling stations. So each filling station, this Bowser needs to distribute what? 850 liters of fuel. So what is the total amount to 8 filling stations? 850, we need to multiply that by 8, no? So we get 6800 liters. So that is the total amount. So what is the capacity of the Bowser? 6.5 cubic meters. That means 6500 liters, no? So it is not enough. Why? 6800 is greater than 6500, right? So that means the amount is what? Not enough. So what you have to do is, first of all, you have to write the capacity of the Bowser in liters. You have to convert it into liters. Here we have cubic meters, here we have liters. Then you have to find what is the total amount required to fill 8 filling stations. It will be what? 6800 liters. Then you have to show this inequality. So it would be better if you use the liters also. So 6800 liters is greater than 6500 liters. Right? So therefore, you have to say, because of that, right, the amount of fuel is not enough. So you have to write it in words. Question number 4. A person requires on average 150 liters of water daily. If a cuboid shaped tank of length 1.5 meters, width 1 meters and height 1 meters is completely filled with water, for how many people in total will this quantity of water be sufficient for a day? Right, so we will calculate the volume of the tank, right? Volume of tank. So that means 1.5 into 1 into 1, no? So we get what? 1.5 cubic meters. That means 1500 liters. One person uses 150 liters per day. So for 1500 liters, how many people can use it? How do we find it? 1500, we have to divide it by what? 150. So what do we get? 10. So this value will be what? 10 people. Huh? Question number 5. The length of an interior side of a cube-shaped tank is 1 meter. The tank is completely filled with water when a tap from which the water in the tank is discharged is open. Water flows out from the tank at a constant rate of 50 liters per minute. Determine how long after the tap is open the tank becomes empty if the water flows out at this constant rate. Okay, so what do we have? we have a tank with the shape of a cube with side length 1 meter, right? So what is the volume of the tank? 1 into 1 into 1, no? So 1 cubic meter, that means 1000 liters, right? So now a tap has been opened, so water is currently flowing out from the tank at a constant rate of 50 liters per minute, right? So what do we have to do? 1000, that is the volume of water. So water is flowing out from the tap at a constant rate of 50. So what do we have to do? 1000 we have to divide by 50. So I can cancel off this 1 0 to this 0. 5 into 1, 5 into 20. So 20 minutes. That means if the tap stays open for 20 minutes, the tank will be emptied within 20 minutes. Right, miscellaneous questions. Question number 1. The capacity of a large drink bottle is 1.5 liters. It is expected to serve a quantity of 150 milliliters of this drink in small glasses to each of the guests at a party. If there are 225 guests at the party, find the minimum number of large drink bottles needed to serve all the guests. Okay, so first of all we can find out what is the amount of drink that is needed, no? So we have the number of guests, which is 225. So they are being served using a cup which has a volume of what? 150. So we can find the volume needed, or we can say drink. So we can find drink amount needed. So we have 225 guests. So each guest is served a cup of 150 milliliters. So 225 into 150. So 225 into 15, what do we get? 3375. When we multiply that by 10, we get what? 33,750. So this value will be what? 33,750. These are milliliters. This is the amount required, amount of drink that is needed. Then how many bottles? 33,750 we need to divide by what? So the volume of one bottle is, one large bottle is what? 1.5 liters, that means 1500 milliliters. So in order to find the amount of large bottles needed, we need to divide this amount by what? 1500. Why? Both are these in what? Milliliters. So when we divide this, we get what? 22.5. But when we think about the question, practically we can't get 22.5 bottles. We can get either 22 bottles or 23 bottles. If we get 22 bottles, the amount will be what? Less, right? අපිට ඕන ප්‍රමාණය මදි වෙනවා. So the only solution is what? We need to buy 23 bottles, right? So here, what will be the answer? 23 bottles. Question number 2. Household storage tanks of capacity 500 liters, 1000 liters and 2000 liters are available for sale. The head of a family of 5 members intends to buy one of these tanks to store water for their household use. If each family member requires a minimum of 150 liters per day and 200 liters of water is required each day for other household chores, determine which tank best suits his requirements. If the head of the family intends to fill the tank only once a day. So we have 5 family members, right? So here it is mentioned, if each family member requires a maximum of 150 liters per day. So each person requires a maximum of 150 liters per day. So that means one person needs a maximum of 150 liters per day. So for 5 people, what is that? 5 into 150. So it will be 750 liters. That means family members needs 750 liters per day, right? And another thing, so for household requirements, right? So we need another 200. So what will be the total amount? Total amount of water is what? 750. To that we have to add 200, no? So we get 950 liters. What are the options that we have regarding the capacities of the tanks? 500, 1000 and 2000. So we can easily buy what? The 1000 liter one. 500 liter one is not enough, right? 2000 liter one, that is more than enough, right? More than enough in the sense we need 950. So buying a 2000 liter one is not suitable for this situation, right? So what's the most suitable option? The 1000 liter one.